Hello, my name is Joseph Fabio, and I would like to speak with you today about something that has been of great benefit to me, both personally and professionally. That's something, literacy, specifically mathematical and financial literacy. Currently, I'm an assistant vice president at a local community bank. My duties there include analysis of and reporting about the bank's commercial loan portfolio. The results of my efforts are distributed to members of the bank's senior management, board of directors, and FDIC regulators. Such a task in today's regulatory and compliance environment is a story in itself, but today I would prefer to share with you the story of how I got to be a credit analyst and bank officer, and even more importantly, the role that literacy in mathematics and finance played in that journey. Literacy in any discipline is challenging, whether it is in language, math, science, finance, engineering, medicine, economics, etc. But the discipline of mathematics has a unique reputation for generating phobia. Everyone can relate to the anxiety that manifests itself just before a math exam. Culturally, the United States does not value math skills and technical competency very highly. Celebrities in our society rarely are of the intellectual brand. Given these inherent characteristics and incorrectly perceived lack of value, it is not a surprise that mathematical literacy is something that people tend to avoid. But like many things in life, the effort and commitment needed to gain literacy in any discipline, and especially mathematical and financial literacy, is warranted by the benefit that is gained by doing so. That is how it was for me, and the journey is not over yet. Interestingly enough, the effort to gain mathematical and financial literacy was not initially a conscious one on my part. It was a matter of necessity. If I wanted to do better with my life, I had to acquire the skills needed to do so. And there was a lot for me to learn because, you see, I did not finish high school. My decision to drop out of school was one of the hardest choices that I have made in my life, and one that I regret immensely. At that young age, I had no idea of the path I had placed myself on and the challenges that would present themselves. Fortunately, I was smart, and I was lucky. Even having successfully passed my GED, I would not have made the same choice today. I found myself working low-paying jobs that provided little to no respect for the contribution I was making. I tried being responsible at a lot of jobs, but they did not pay enough and/or were just physically impossible to continue for any long period of employment. I had to do better. One day, while I was working in a copy center at a large Boston law firm, I noticed that there was a group of well-dressed people that would be admitted to the offices just after hours in order to do some sort of desk work. The next day, I asked one of the paralegals who they were and what they were doing. She answered that they were temp employees, hired to do administrative work after hours, and for an amount that was 3 to 4 times what I was making for compensation. That information was enough for me to register the following day with a temporary employment agency for work. But of key importance here was I made sure that the agency provided free computer training. After work, before my commute home, I would go to the computer lab, work through all the training modules that they had. Soon, I had certification in Microsoft Word, Excel, Access, and PowerPoint at beginning, intermediate, and advanced levels. These newfound skills were immediately added to my resume. Things began to change. All of a sudden, the list of jobs that I was qualified for increased dramatically. Through the temp agency, I started to get work assignments that provided me with experience and, importantly, good references. These references provided me with a basis of an ongoing, credible reputation. Subsequently, this recent history of employment then allowed me to successfully compete for permanent, better-paying jobs that were beyond my reach prior to this. I was eventually hired as a human resource administrator at a local community bank that was a few blocks down the street from where I work today. Life had improved. At this time, the banking industry was experiencing acquisitions on an unprecedented scale. My bank was acquired by a larger bank, and then another, and then another. In the short time span of 1 year, I had worked for 3 different banks through this acquisition activity. It was a very unstable time, and I needed something that provided security, consistency, and longevity. I decided to make a career move. Then the opportunity presented itself. One of the things that I would do to reward myself during my work week was to have lunch at a restaurant in Harvard Square. While eating at one of my favorite places, I noticed across the street a building that housed a continuing education program. It was the Harvard Extension School. Once I finished lunch, I went over and grabbed a brochure out of curiosity. Upon reviewing the brochure, I had noticed one thing. There, asterisked at the side of the course description, was information for Harvard employees on how to use their tuition reimbursement benefit. Looking into it further, I learned that Harvard employees only had to pay $40 per class for their tuition. Here was an opportunity for me not only to start a new career path, but also rekindle the passion for learning that had been extinguished years before. I eagerly pursued getting a job at Harvard. Based on my work experience and skill set, I was hired as a benefit service representative in the Human Resources Department at Harvard University. My first position was at the front desk. Over the 10 years that I was employed at Harvard, I worked my way up from front desk to being an officer of the corporation. I had the title of lab manager, and I was responsible for the financial and managerial needs of a world-class professor and his 25-member organic chemistry research group at the university. When time allowed, and there was not much, I was able to attend a course or two, here and there, off and on, while I was employed at Harvard University. All the way I took hard courses in math and finance when possible. But the hope that I would earn the education that was denied to me long ago was unrealized. One day, while in my office, the phone rang, and it was a friend of mine who I knew from my days at the community bank. He called me to ask me if I was interested in working for him as a credit analyst. I replied that the offer was good, but I had absolutely no experience in banking, finance, and analysis. He responded that I had more of a math background than most of the people there, and that I should interview anyway. I did. During the interview, there was very little that was familiar to me in the way of terminology and process. I did not want to misrepresent myself, so I spoke to what I was confident and knowledgeable about. The algebraic derivations of some of the embedded formulas that I had assumed were in the example analysis that they had provided me with, and the relationship of some of these values to the actual loan portfolio and its financial condition. After I finished my expository, the vice president turned to her assistant and said, "I want him to fill out an application today." On that application was a box that asked for how much I wanted to make for salary compensation. I wrote in a healthy number. 3 days later, they contacted me with a job offer, and they had met my salary request. I had been at that bank for 5 years, during which time I've been promoted from a credit analyst to an assistant vice president, and have been given key responsibility for the analysis and reporting on the entire commercial loan portfolio. I have done better with my life. I have been at the bank for 5 years, during which time I have been promoted from a credit analyst to an assistant vice president, and have been given key responsibility for the analysis and reporting on the entire commercial loan portfolio. I have done better with my life. But the journey that brought me here is not over. Industries are always in cycles, and the acquisition of my current bank has recently taken place. Once again, I realized the opportunity to take stock of my education, skills, experiences, and accomplishments in order to apply them to the next step up for me. I have founded a business competitive intelligence firm that provides the best of my employment experience and analytical skills, plus the academic contacts and professional network that I've developed over the years to answer the challenges faced by my corporate clients. And, oh yes, I will continue to work towards earning my college degree. I owe it to myself and to others that I do so. Because with commitment, effort, and discipline, many of the things that you can't imagine are possible. Just find what works for you, for your situation, your interest, no matter how challenging or how long it takes.